gonna get our little acceleration here. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're gonna be going over a 2020 Toyota Tundra in the Platinum trim package, and also, by the way, this one's finished in what's called Barcelona Red. So, as always, a huge shout out and thank you to Toyota here in Murray, Utah for providing us with this Tundra. I'm gonna include a link to their inventory in the description below. Let's get right into it. Now, under the hood of the Tundra, we have a naturally aspirated 5.7 liter V8 that goes through a 6-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 13 around town and then 17 on the highway, with power outputs being 381 horsepower and then 401 pound-feet of torque, and a 0 to 60 time of about 6.5 seconds. Now let's go over the front end on the Platinum. Notice that you do get that venting at the front of the hood. Definitely makes it look a whole lot sportier. Body colored bumpers as well. Full LED lights, and then you get the fog lights just down below at the bottom. And then I'll just give you guys a quick close look at the lights so you guys can see like the whole lighting cluster for both of them. And then yes, the Toyota logo also does double as a sensor, but just like all the other Tundras, it's just like this massive imposing front end, and I think it looks really good. On the side here, we've got two 75mm tires on 20-inch rims in the front and in the rear as well. In terms of the design on the rims, I mean, it's just classic Toyota design, nothing too crazy happening there. But here's a quick look up into what we can see on the suspension. And then you do get a Platinum badge on the side. That's one of the ways you can tell this is a Platinum. Chrome mirrors as well, and then you get chrome on the door handles. But here is your side look on this Platinum. Here's our key fob for this particular Tundra. You've got a couple functions. You've got the unlock, the lock, and then you've got the alarm button, and then also you have the remote start, which you have to press the lock button a couple times in the right kind of order, hold it down, and then the light will flash, and we're gonna get a start up here. You hear the V8 come to life. Now, coming to the back of the truck, we'll go over this stuff in a moment, but we're gonna open it up first, and well, it's a slow lowering tailgate. No bed liner, but that's a pretty easy add-on to get, to be honest. Cargo light there at the top, and then other than that, I mean, it's a normal size bed, so it's like a shorter bed for a 1500 series truck in this particular one. And then when you are done lifting up the tailgate, it's relatively light. Now with the rest of the back, we've got the Tundra's signature lights that I just wish that those were LEDs. All the regular badging, nothing too crazy there. In terms of the towing capacity on the Tundra, it's roughly right around 10,000 pounds. Parking sensors along the rear as well, and then you do get mud flaps in both parts, which I did forget to mention earlier, but that's everything before we pop in. Coming to the back here, this is my favorite part on the Platinum, is the interior. So you guys will see why. There is this nice kind of like quilted design with the stitching here and some kind of like nice trim, soft touch up here. Now I wish they continued the soft touch where you actually rest your arm, but I mean, I'll live with it. Now, here are the rest of these seats. Again, you've got that cool quilted design with it, and the seats, they just have like a really nice feel to them in the rear. If you're wondering what that handle is, well, that's to lift up the seat so you can see flat loading floor below. Obviously, if you wanted to put stuff and not put it on the seats, then you could use that for it. But let's step in. So stepping in up without side steps, it's a little bit of work, so I'd recommend side steps. Legroom, it's massive. I'm about 5'11", and I have no problem. And then headroom, well, that's not a problem either. You do get a little Platinum logo right there, so your rear passengers know that you're a baller. And then you've got the vents here in the back, and then pulling the cup holders down, there's the cup holder armrest. Coming to the front, we do have keyless entry and blind spot monitoring here in the mirror. Now, actually opening up, you'll notice that the front door panel looks identical to the one in the rear with the materials. Memory seats are right here. You've got all your controls for the windows. And then here are the seats in the front. Again, that same quilted design. Now, in terms of the feel, they do feel slightly softer with the bolsters compared to the rear seats. You've got the adjustments for the seats, and again, Platinum, so that you know that you're a baller. And then you've got the little pedals right there at the bottom. And then over here, you've got a couple controls, so like your adjustments for the mirrors. This is for the rear window. We'll go over that later. Your cargo light. And then in terms of steering wheel, it actually is automatically adjustable, but there's one more look before we pop in. Foot on the brake, push to push start, and the Tundra comes to life. The steering wheel kind of comes towards you. The whole infotainment system pops on, says Toyota, because we're in a Toyota, and yeah. Now here's the steering wheel in the Tundra. Now you've got this kind of like grippier leather all around the whole steering wheel, stitching on the inside. Cruise control is kind of peeping back there. You've got the controls for the lane departure and then the collision assistance. This is like the pages button, and this is for the center stack as well. Volume controls, voice command controls, and then your phone controls. But yeah, overall, that's the steering wheel on the Tundra. Now I've got the gauge cluster right here, RPMs on the left side. On the right side, you've got the speed, and then you got a couple other gauges that are kind of like auxiliary gauges all around, including the fuel gauge. And then just through here, it just gives you different bits of information in the center. Pretty small screen, but it gets the job done. Just above the infotainment system, you kind of have this like random little rubber mat that you can actually pick up, and yeah, I don't know, but you could store stuff there. Now, coming down to the infotainment system itself, I want to show you guys the backup camera quickly. So there's what the camera looks like. The trajectory lines do not move when you turn the steering wheel, and then, yeah, that's pretty much it. But you do get parking sensors, remember. You do have the parking sensors that'll help out. Off the rest of the infotainment system, you've got these buttons on both sides that help you control stuff. So I can press menu, for example, it'll pop over to the menu, and then I can just press like destination. Oh, actually, got to press the button, and then it'll pop up with the navigation. The buttons happen pretty much instantaneous. The touchscreen response time is good as well. That projection is to put your phone screen on the touchscreen, and yeah, that's all. Just down below, you have our controls for the dual zone climate, and then you do have controls for the heated and ventilated seats. They will pop up here, so like you can see that as I turn the seat controls, it pops up there, so it doesn't show anything down where the button actually is. This is the driveline select. So you got your two-wheel drive, your four-wheel high, and then your four-wheel low. And then down over here, got a bunch of little areas we can charge USB devices, all that kind of stuff, and a 12 volt on the far right side. Stability control and your parking sensors is also down in that little area as well. Now here's kind of like the center area. You've got a couple cup holders right here. That's the shifter for the 6-speed automatic. And then notice that you do get a manual shift mode if you don't shift the gears yourself. And again, it says Platinum right here. You've got this kind of like smoother touched leather here at the top. And then opening it up, you get a little storage tray at the top, and then underneath you get some more storage. It's a massive center console in general, and well, now I can't show it because of my backpack, but you guys get the point. Now you've got circular vents all along the front, and then more of that quilted leather up here on the top. Now opening up the glove box, you've got the little tier at the top, and that's pretty much it for that area. The rest of the stuff's kind of like hard touch, so they've got a couple elements of leather though. Up top here we have their little sunglass holder and a center, which is kind of blinding right now, but I am going to show you guys the rear sliding window. So that button I showed you earlier, well, that opens up the window, and in the Platinum it opens up the whole window, so you can have your dogs pop out the back and the front, whatever you want, and that's all. Now that we are done going over the interior on this Platinum, let's quickly talk about the pricing. So this Platinum stickers for about $54,000 before any type of market adjustment, and a lot of people, I feel like, compare this truck to like an F-150 Platinum or to like a F-150 Limited or Ram 1500 Limited, and I know that this is like the upper end on the Toyotas, but at the same time, from a price point perspective, it's closer in pricing to like a Ram 1500 Laramie or like a Chevy 1500 LTZ or a Ford F-150 Lariat. So just kind of keep that in mind for the rest of the review. Let's take her out and see how she drives. Quickly talk about visibility before we set off here in the Tundra. So visibility over the hood, just like any other Tundra, nothing too fancy happening here. There's your visibility through the mirror and the other mirror as well. And then here is the rest of the visibility all throughout the rear on the Tundra. It's pretty good, just like any other truck. That all being said though, let's set off. We are setting off here in the 2020 Tundra Platinum, and of course I run into a red light, but initially setting off, just getting off the line, the torque and the horsepower are actually really good, and it goes to the gears relatively quickly. It goes to the gears relatively smoothly as well. In terms of the ride quality, and wow, that person really popped out in this Ford. Jeez. But in terms of the overall like ride quality, it's really smooth for a truck, definitely on the smoother side. And of course my glasses decided to fog up again, but it is on the smoother side of things, and it's just kind of like feels like it's like luxury tuned. You can definitely feel that for sure with this truck. Now coming to this first little turn here, the steering super light, just like any other Tundra, and in terms of the directness, there is quite a bit of on-center vagueness. That being said though, I mean, it's relatively easy to drive, and no, it's not gonna be sports car direct or anything like that, but it's really easy to get used to. And just because of how light the steering rack is, it's no problem at all. And The other thing to mention at this point is just going to be kind of like just the overall feel like sitting in the truck. The seat is super comfortable. The leather's like super plush, and just in general, it has like a nice, like just comfortable feel to it. We're going to get our little acceleration here. Yeah, I mean, it gets up more than adequately from an acceleration standpoint. And again, you guys heard the power figures, you heard the 0 to 60 time. This is, you know, right in range with most other trucks, right? Ram's 5.7, Hemi, Ford 3.5 EcoBoost. Those trucks with those engines, they might be just a little bit quicker, but I mean, they're all pretty close in terms of 0 to 60 times. The biggest differences will be a little bit with the towing, but again, all those trucks are kind of all pretty close in terms of like a towing capacity. Let's get into summing things up with this Toyota Tundra Platinum and just where I really see this standing in general. And I kind of already mentioned this. I think that too many people compare the top of the line Tundras to the top of the line models of other truck manufacturers. And I can understand that, right? It's the top of the line, so you go, I got to compare the top to the top. But most people, they don't shop from top to top. They shop from a price point perspective. And again, this truck stickers in the mid 50s. And so what you're really looking at is a truck that compares to kind of like an entry, closer to an entry-level Laramie package Ram and F-150. I mean, with those two manufacturers, Ram and Ford, some of their more like base model packages are in this range. Like if you get a Ram 1500 Bighorn or a Ford XLT that's loaded up with options, it's gonna be about the same price as this Tundra that's, again, the top of the line model. So I feel like this is actually a really good value because it's a super reliable truck. And I understand that, you know, the engine transmission might not be like the most up-to-date in terms of like fuel economy and all that, but from a reliability standpoint, this truck is really solid. And so I think just like as an overall value, the Tundra actually is pretty strong because you get decent power, you get decent towing capacity as well, and you get all this like safety tech at just a pretty reasonable price compared to what the other trucks are selling for right now. And that's what I think. That is going to sum things up for our video on the 2020 Tundra Platinum Edition. And again, a huge shout and thank you to the Larry Miller Toyota here in Murray for providing us with this Tundra. Check out their inventory in the link below. I will see all of you in that next video.